government in this town is excellent and uses your tax dollars efficiently.
You thought you'd see it coming. The moment Bitcoin is what they fear it is. A way to read it.
What an astounding revolution Bitcoin represents. Bitcoin is...
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice. Their genes have been spliced. They're Pinky and the Brain. Brain.
All right, everybody.
Brain.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Crypto Show. I think I've got a little more verve this time than the previous shows, the previous little interviews we've done. And we've done some great interviews. Don't get me wrong. I've been very happy to have the guests we've had on today. Just got a little less sleep than I wanted. And, man, the heat here just makes me tired. I can't help it.
Never buy the meth in Acapulco. It's
no, it doesn't
good.
do anything. It's like a 30-minute supercharge, and that's it. If I wanted that, I'd just stick with Coke, right? I'm just kidding. Anyway, we've got a nice group of fellas here. I'm excited to have them. They're from Super DAO, and we're going to find out shortly what Super DAO is all about. I want to introduce them. The founder and the head of the group is Ola. Ola, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for being on the show. We also got Patrick. How's it going, Patrick?
Good, thanks.
Excellent. And we've got Jermaine. How's it going, Jermaine?
I'm very good. How are you, man?
Excellent. Well, I'm going to go on a little sidetrack here. Forgive me for doing this, but I think it's worth saying. When we were talking right before the show, the guys introduced themselves then, and I'm sorry. I couldn't help but think. Jermaine Jackson.
Don't do it, man. Don't
Jackson
do it.
5. He's probably gotten this his whole life, I know. But, I want to get into something related to that here in a second. But, Jermaine, you were telling us or about to tell us off air about your name. So tell us again. So, like I said, you've probably gotten the whole Jackson 5 thing all your life. But go ahead.
You don't realize you've literally hit a sore spot with me for years.
I'm sorry, Jermaine.
As a matter of fact, I've gotten that reference, Jermaine Jackson, all my life. And for me, I just let it go. I didn't believe it. I just said, very funny. But it was only until I turned like 17, I decided to ask my parents exactly where did I get that name, Jermaine. Because my brother's name is Jose.
And you said you're half Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I'm half Puerto Rican.
So you're thinking, I don't know, maybe it's
my father's name is Enrique. I could have been a junior. I was the first, so I thought I would have been a junior probably, but I literally asked them after years of being teased with the name Jermaine Jackson, and these people had the nerve to tell me, yeah, we just like Jermaine Jackson.
Sorry, it's gonna laugh. I'm so sorry. That's hilarious. So it really was.
Broke my heart. Everything. I just felt like all these years, these people were right, and I'm the one that was an idiot.
Well, you weren't an idiot. I mean, and they never told you. How could you expect? I mean, come on, let's be honest. Ironically, that's the last thing you or probably anyone would have guessed. Really, as to why you were named Jermaine. I mean, I probably you were thinking okay, this is some unusual Puerto Rican name. People don't know that. Or my great grandfather was named Jermaine, and he was this war hero or something.
Right.
And it was named after him. I mean, I would understand. I would think that.
Nope. Nope. Just we like Jermaine Jackson.
Hey, and that's okay. It. Jackson 5. Rock on.
I mean, they were big back in the 70s. Yeah.
Hey, they're big in my heart still.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
But you know what, though? Every Jermaine that I've ever met has been a cool dude. A cool ass dude.
I wish I could say that in my experience. No,
My bad.
absolutely true in my experience. Absolutely true in my experience. This Jermaine right here, especially cool dude. All these guys, cool dudes. Well, real quick, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I had to say this. I was telling you this off air a minute ago. You know, when I found out your name was Jermaine, made me think of the Jackson 5. I was telling you, you know, big fan of Michael Jackson. Really big fan of all the Jacksons, but Michael, of course, right? He's
Right.
Michael Jackson.
Of course.
But I was telling you, you know, I think y'all are aware. Dave Chappelle had that 3-part comedy series on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Netflix.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people still don't know that he had a 4th part in that. I don't even know if it I guess it did air on Netflix. It was a little bit shorter and a little bit smaller of an audience than the previous 3, but he was getting real. Just like the Dave Chappelle show segment, keeping it real, right?
Right.
And I don't know if you remember, just to give a little context, when he, you know, quit the Dave Chappelle show and, you know, basically turned down $15 million or whatever the huge contract was, he went to Africa, and the media just, you know, made fun of him and acted like he'd gone crazy. Well, when he came back, he went on Oprah, and he went on James Lipton's Behind the Actors Studio. And in both cases, he was like revealing some crazy stuff, like about, for instance, his buddy Martin Lawrence. People may remember him from the TV show back in the 90s, and some other stuff. And he also alluded to, what's her name? Mariah Carey, saying these people are strong, and they are. You have to be strong to be in Hollywood. And he goes, you know, what does it tell you about Hollywood that someone strong like Martin Lawrence is running around in the streets with a gun saying they're trying to kill me, they're trying to kill me? And I remember thinking, well, all sorts of things about what that implied, right, about Hollywood.
He was definitely giving some hints.
Yeah. And if Martin Lawrence was really the kind of guy that Chappelle said he was, and I believed him, you know, some crazy shit's going down. Well, in this other comedy special, he's making more of these comments, you know, and he's talking about, he's alluding to like the, you know, the Weinberg thing and all the Hollywood stuff that's going out, and Corey Feldman. Well, he comes out and just says, you know, and MJ, you know, the media just kind of like I said before, convicted him in the court of public opinion, and he solidly flat out said, man, he didn't do it. And that's his personal opinion, and that's the opinion he got from people close to MJ. And you know, when I was a kid, I sort of believed it just because you're a kid, you don't know any better, and you believe what the media tells you, sadly. When as an adult, I really doubted it. I really did, especially like from Corey Feldman.
Let's go ahead and just do a record scratch real quick. And I think this will actually benefit these guys. We're going to let Jeff break in and get in with this. And we can actually use this because something just happened. And I just realized this. That we got accused of never having 2 black guys on our show before. Day before yesterday.
Wait, we got accused of this?
by the other 2 black guys that we just had on the show. Remember? During the earthquake.
No, I know. We interviewed him during the earthquake. Yeah,
they said we've never had 2 black guys on the show. We'll never have 2 black guys again.
Oh no, he did say that. He did. Yeah, that's true.
That's why I was just texting him a pipicture about that. But
it was.
I mean, this doesn't really happen that much at Acapulco, but it's growing. And Jeff only has about 15 minutes, so let's get to him and let's talk about how Acapulco is growing. Another thing, and it's not just that. If you've looked around and you've noticed, there's a lot more women this year than any previous year, and just about any Bitcoin conference I've actually been to. So things are growing, and let's talk to Jeff about why they're growing.
Well, we're going to build suspense. We're going to hold off on talking to the Super DAO guys because their project and them personally are just that cool. And we're going to talk to the other super cool guy here, Jeff Berwick. Jeff, thanks for coming and spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. You look great, Jeff, by the way. All that fasting and MMA and exercise has really done you some good. And are you still laying off the cigarettes, or?
No, I started smoking before the conference. I'm gonna stop afterwards.
It's got to be.
I'm not drinking at the conference. I kind of wanted something, just a little crutch. I'm like I don't know where I am on the scale on my health thing that I'm doing, but I think I'm like well over 50% of the way to where I want to be, but I'm still not all the way there. So I'm still just finding little, okay, I'm going to do this, just get through this, little things that
Jeff, that's
I
understandable. When a really intense, stressful event like this, you got to have a little something to help you out. That's in the fact that you've just done so much for yourself, and you may be over 50% on the way to where you want to be, but you're like 300% more on the way than most people. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But also congratulations, Jeff. This conference has been a huge success by any measure that I can think of. Like you said, there's more women at this conference than in previous years. There's, 4 times the number of people who attended the first year?
I'd say at least three times.
At least 3 times?
Yeah, we had about a little over 500 last year, and it's kind of hard to count because so many people kind of coming around, but it's I think we're over 1,600 this year.
Was it 1,600?
I think so, yeah.
And another thing is the speakers that have been speaking, almost every speaker that spoke, even through the first few days that are pretty much anarchy, almost everyone mentioned cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency has just leaked into everything that everybody's doing in anarchy. This is obviously the new money for anarchy and freedom.
Absolutely. And Jeff, do you think, I think just word of mouth and the success of the previous conferences and your own personality and drive that you have, I think that accounts for obviously the majority of the turnout this year, but clearly the crypto addition to the conference also accounts for some of that. How big of a driver do you think that was?
Well, last year at this time, Ethereum, I think, was at $20. It's now around $900. A lot of the people at this conference are very into these sort of things. So absolutely, that did not hurt us whatsoever that the cryptocurrencies had an absolutely crazy 2017. But there were so many other things that really everything seems to just be clicking. Everything seems to be going our way for the first time as libertarians. This is everything is going. For example, we had Ron Paul here. That definitely did not hurt. So we sold out pretty quickly after we announced that.
I must have missed that part.
Huh?
No, I'm kidding.
And Cynthia McKinney, the ex-congresswoman, was here, and not only here, but she came out as an anarchist at the conference.
You're kidding. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
excellent.
So all that kind of stuff happening. We also, you're talking about a lot of women here, and, we're trying to make this more than just a conference, and I think it's sort of going to turn into more of like a festival, really. So we had a lot of music this year. We had Wu-Tang Clan called me a couple of weeks ago. I was sitting there in my office, and I get a WhatsApp from one of the Wu-Tang guys, and I used to be a big Wu-Tang fan back in the 90s, and he's like, "What's up, dog? I heard about Acapulco. I want to come down. We all want to come down because we want to learn about crypto anarchy, cuz." And I was like, cool, awesome. So like everyone's like gravitating to all this sort of stuff right now. And then the other thing, so of course women tend to like parties and music and dancing and all those sort of things. So that definitely doesn't hurt. We had, of course, Eric July and Backwards and so many other artists there, and Jordan Page here. And then before the conference this year, for the first time, we had our health and wellness event, which was all kinds of things. And of course, it must be funny to people listening in the US. We are literally doing ayahuasca, DMT, iboga,
don't tell them those
things. It's illegal.
Yeah, in the land of the free. But the meditation, yoga, tantra, all these sort of things. And I was really surprised because we didn't really announce it until a few weeks before the conference. We were so busy with everything. And I went down on the first night. They kind of had, because it started 3 days before the conference. So on the night before the conference, I came down for the first time and went down to the beach. I see this huge like drum circle. They're all shaped in a heart. They're all doing meditation, hoping for peace in the world, all that sort of stuff, all the hippie type people. And I remember meeting hippies for the first time, not for the first time, but in the libertarian movement at PorkFest about 5 years ago. And I was sitting around a campfire, and a bunch of people were doing hacky sack and, smoking weed. And I was like, what are you hippies doing here? And one guy said to me, he goes, man, he's smoking on his joint. He goes, one day I just realized, man, it's all about the NAP, the non-aggression principle, man. That's peace and love.
Yeah, NAP. Okay.
Not FAP. I don't know what you.
No, nap. Yeah. I was taking a nap earlier one day. Long story. Inside joke. Sorry.
Yeah. So a lot of the hippies that are here, and I'm sort of a hippie myself. I do all those sort of things myself now. A lot of them were women. So yeah, we just got this. Everything's coming together here. We've got it's quite amazing to see because we're all sort of bound to an extent by our principles, and it's really a very basic principle, that one principle, the non-aggression principle.
Absolutely.
So you have on stage one hippie talking about peace and love and meditation, how we're going to change the world through getting into your heart, and then next it comes up and he's a business guy dressed like me, and he's like, I'm designing cryptocurrency so that we can get rid of central banks, so we can get rid of wars, and they all get along perfectly because we're all sort of generally want the same thing.
Right. It's kind of like, are you familiar with Chris Odom of Stash and
Yes.
Open Transactions? He used to be basically a famous pickup artist, and now he's a Bitcoin developer. He's a family man, and he's really big on the principles of freedom and cryptocurrency. And it's just funny
you remember
how
the TV show of the guy in Austin that wore the like furry purple hat. I think his name was Mystery.
Yeah, the Mystery Method.
He was
or
the
whatever.
guy who was actually behind all that. That was just the front man. Chris was the guy behind it.
Right, exactly. So this is, these ideas in this conference are very transformative, like you said, and it's amazing the turnout. It's amazing the eclectic group of people who have come, and it's amazing seeing the development of people personally who you've seen from the previous years, and how just getting deeper and deeper into these ideas changes them profoundly on a positive level.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the thing that really stood out to me, I've been watching, it's kind of funny, a libertarian blog wrote about me, and it said Jeff Berwick is a recluse who watches the Acapulco conference on live stream from his mansion in the hills of Acapulco. And I kind of laughed like, oh, what kind of like over the top BS is that? Like I'm Howard Hughes.
Is that when you shut the stream off?
Yeah. That's when I realized I'm up in the hills watching the stream in my mansion in Acapulco. I actually kind of forgot what I was going to say before that. What were we asking about?
Well, we were just talking about the
I've been
transformative
smoking.
effects of an Acapulco. And
Yes, I remember now. So I've been watching the live stream a lot, and I actually like that because you might have seen me here. I get like mobbed everywhere I go, so it's like I'd like to get away from it, but I also like to watch a lot of presentations, and almost every presentation this year. I remember the first year, a lot of them were like, "Screw the government," angry, like this is terrible. This year, it's all like we have to change ourselves to change the world. It's all about love, peace, and that was really, to me, because I got into this myself. For many years, I was very angry. Let's, whatever it takes, get rid of the government. And I reached a point where I got very depressed, and I started working on myself. And all of a sudden, I started to realize that everything around me was changing for the better because I was changing myself, and all the people around me were changing, and it was actually changing the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. And that's really, we almost could change the slogan this year to that, because almost everyone who's gotten up on that stage this year has talked about that.
Yeah, changing yourself on the inside, and it emanates change on the outside.
Absolutely.
And Jeff, it's so funny you say that. I've had so many people that I've talked to whom we've interviewed or I've just been chatting with who said the same thing as you did. Like, it used to be very political. Now it seems post-political and more philosophical and spiritual, and a much more positive kind of vibe. And that's a really cool development.
Luke's speech kind of detailed the first meeting and everything. Do you feel like that event was actually the first in Acapulco? That's what inspired you to actually do Acapulco, isn't it?
I don't know.
The meeting in Chile, just that.
It could have been. I was so drunk, I don't remember anything.
Because it was just an atmosphere just like that, and then this came around, and it was so much like what happened down there with Joby and you and Ben Swan and everybody showing up.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I guess
know?
looking back on it, that was a huge, horrible disaster for me personally. I got defrauded and we lost $10 million in that real estate fraud. We're still actually, it's still in the course in Chile, and we're probably going to win in the end. But I almost killed myself over the whole thing. So it's kind of funny. That's sort of what life's all about.
The event itself was so much like this. Just the fun that we had with the tables gathered all around. You really forgot about what was going on with the sale of the land. That was not even the point. Everybody just really was there for the party and to come together. And I wasn't trying to buy any damn land. I was just there to check out the party, man. It was fucking awesome. So, yeah. And then this came along, and
well, it sounds like all the right people.
And the way it was just the way that I really thought about that when Luke described that's where he met you, and then now he's here, and I just kind of thought back on that it really reminded me of that was really the first Acapulco.
Yeah, it's really. it's just all coming together. Like I said, it seems like the stars are aligning with everything that we're doing as freedom sort of people. Cryptocurrencies alone, right? Because I remember the first in Acapulco, like a lot of the people showed up, is only 150 people. A lot of them were kind of angry, very broke.
No, that was just my leg.
And that's changed, and so many things going on and so much change, and there's real you brought up about how a lot of people used to be a lot of fear-based sort of stuff. A lot of people wouldn't even want to talk about this stuff in public and stuff like that. They're all worried, and a lot of what a lot of the hippie sort of things going on here, a lot of people are realizing that that's how they control us, is through fear, and a lot of people are just letting go of that fear, and that's what Amanda Rockwitz's presentation was about. And I found it really like profound, because that's what I've done myself personally. Like I for many years I've had like no fear. I didn't care. Like if they kill me, I don't care. It doesn't. I'm not scared of it. And you're seeing many other people doing that now. So it's gone from like angry and fearful and broke to happy and optimistic and hopeful and rich in a couple of years,
or at least stacked.
Yeah, I know, and that tends to just reinforce that sort of attitude and mentality and sense of being. Just tends to reinforce itself amongst all these people. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what's powerful, is the connecting of all these people with that change in mindset. And when it's combined together, it can be an even bigger force, greater than some of its parts.
And Jeff does have an appointment to speak, so we got to wrap that up. I mean, that's why we let him broke in.
I have one more minute.
I just want to say, speaking of cryptocurrency, Jeff, of course, you have been so right on so many things when it comes to so many investments, not just cryptocurrency, but especially cryptocurrency. And man, I wish I had listened to you more. And people who have listened to you have made a lot of money. And could thank you for that, and congratulations to you for that. You've been really just a prophet when it comes to a lot of these things. So on that point, let's end on your I don't know how you call it. Is it a seminar, summit?
The Dollar Vigilante Summit.
Dollar Vigilante Summit, yeah. And when is that?
That's tomorrow.
Tell us a little bit about that. When on that?
Yeah, I've been doing the Dollar Vigilante before I started even with the anarchy-related stuff, because I have a sort of a background in the financial markets and all that sort of stuff. So when my internet company busted in the year 2000 after the tech bubble collapsed, I didn't know what happened. I asked like MBAs what happened. No one knew. They all said that just happens sometimes. I then found out about Austrian economics, realized the central banks are what creates all these bubbles. And after a few years of traveling the world, which I wanted to do as well, because I knew what we're seeing on television isn't what the world looks like. So I wanted to see it with my own eyes. So after all of that, I said, okay, we have to tell the world about things like Austrian economics, libertarianism, how evil central banks and governments really are. And that's what really birthed the Dollar Vigilante in 2010. So we're now like 8 years in. This will be our third conference here. And it's more financial focused, more economic and things like that. And more about, investment advice and recommendations rather than talking more on philosophically and things like that.
Well, that stuff's almost as important, especially when it comes to managing your money and your investments. And any more details? Are you going to have any more summits like this until the next in Acapulco that people should know about?
We've been asked to do so many things. I think I've been asked at least 20 times that we should have an Acapulco somewhere else. But really, a big part of it is Acapulco. The vibe here, the fact that we can do DMT and ayahuasca, and there's a guy in a hotel room with any drug you want. You can go up and have a massage while you're getting your cocaine or whatever you want. It's like it's, try to do this in New York City, in Acapulco. Like, forget about it. Like, these guys will get choked out and probably killed. They're trying to sell cigarettes on the street or something. Not us. We'll be okay. But
well, no, we'll be okay. It'll take a little bit longer for us to get choked out. So.
But I got to run. Thank you guys.
Jeff,
and
so
sorry
much.
for cutting you guys off.
No. It's
We
an
kept the waiting
advantage.
long
It's an
enough, so
advantage for them.
Cool. Thanks
Jeff,
a lot,
thank
guys.
you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you,
Jeff,
guys.
thanks so much. All right, everybody. Jeff Berwick. That's so awesome. It's always good to have him on the show. And is that my first time with him in person on the show?
No, I think we did it last year too.
Maybe
but
last year. I can't remember.
That was our limited time to get to him, and I thought it would be an advantage to have him on the show with these guys. So it would be.
No, that's great because one, if only by association, it promotes Super DAO. So I mean, come on. I appreciate your patience, but I think it was worth it.
Problem.
Yeah,
Completely worth it.
totally. Good. I feel you have that attitude about it all. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Well, anyway, I mean, just wrapping up. Yeah. Dave Chappelle, everyone check out his full comedy special. If you haven't seen his TV show, you're crazy and you've been living in a rock for 10 years. But that fourth comedy special, he gets real about a lot of stuff. Again, I was so I don't know, pleased, I guess, when he came out saying that about MJ, saying he didn't do it. I think more people who know that sort of stuff need to come out and have the courage to say that, because Michael Jackson was a great performer, and I really think he was a great person. And it's people only think otherwise because the media ruined him in the court of public opinion. So, but anyway, that was only because of some tangent based on Jermaine's awesome name that actually, it turns out, as he found out at age 17, was he was named after one of the Jackson 5. But let's get to the more important matters of what is Super DAO. And I don't know who wants to go first, but probably Ola or maybe Patrick, whoever wants to go first and tell us all about it.
So, Super DAO is efficient DAO for disruptive dApps. That's decentralized applications. We are a decentralized organization built on the Ethereum blockchain, and we specialize in disintermediating and creating economically driven applications that don't require any servers and no. They reduce costs, and they socially galvanize customers or users to use these applications more efficiently and quickly.
And so is this using governance structures like...
Essentially, that's what SuperDAO is. It's a governance structure that is efficient, that solves some problems within the crowd coming together to govern anything. So we have found some solutions over throughout our research and our foray into the space, and we think those solutions can address what we see when crowd come together to solve particular problems. For example, voter apathy is one of the issues we focus on.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Voter apathy. Right?
Voter apathy. Okay,
When you have a crowd, you have this condition where most the participators are not driven to participate in whatever task that's needed, and we solve that by providing different designs in terms of incentives and ways that people are driven to be more active.
And so for your own, so you're saying for your own voting structure within your platform, that to avoid common voter apathy, which happens obviously with political voting, but really any kind of voting.
Any kind of voting.
Yeah.
And in the crypto space, it's worse. It's worse, as we have seen with some crypto platforms like BitShares and the DAO. You have quorum issues. In the first place, you can't get enough people to participate or just give notice of their intent to participate in some voting activity. So we overcome that by providing incentives to the crowd to be more active.
And in your voting structure, is it anything like, say, a Dash or Decred, where you have sort of master nodes? In other words, where you have to put up collateral of cryptocurrency to vote? Or who is qualified to vote under your system? And then tell us about the incentives and give some examples of how they work.
So there is no requirement for stake or bonding, but the platform itself, by the very nature of its working on services, the dApps that provide rewards to the stakeholders or the token holders, those rewards act as incentives for the token holders to participate, and if there is a lack of participation, they just are not entitled to such rewards on the platform.
Okay.
So that kind of serves as incentives and disincentives for either participating or the lack thereof.
And so is your DAO then used obviously for funding projects that people submit to the governance structure, or?
So yeah, we started kind of coming together around Pokerium, which is, I would say, like our primary, it's like our baby, really, what we're trying to bring out to the market. Where we do have an intake process for people to come if they have ideas that they want built under our umbrella and like affiliated with Super DAO, then they can reach out to us and we'll like kick off those discussions. We have a couple of projects underway right now, so I think we're in a really good place in terms of not being so overburdened that our doors are closed to new ideas, but not so starved that we're chasing people down for ideas. So we have a pretty good balance that lets people who really believe in their thing come to us, and we can run it through our intake and see how it fits.
Is Super DAO useful for people who are either use or in charge of other cryptocurrencies, or is it just for like general applications that they've already built, or they build applications using your platform? Or
so the interesting thing is that the way we've structured it, and without diving into too much of the details of like verbally, we actually have part of that intake process is figuring out where you exist in the current state and having an understanding of do you have a predefined set of assets or equity that you're trying to bring in? Or is it more that you're looking to start net new and you're looking for some advice on how to structure that? So in either case, we have like a flexible model that lets us kind of interface with those idea generators or those leads on different projects.
So are you kind of saying too that you're not only providing tech, but you're also playing an advisory role potentially as a team? Or
I would say not. We wouldn't call ourselves advisors. We're not. That's not our branding. But I think there's just the team is so diverse in skills and capabilities that it's just something that comes naturally, right?
Well, and actually, I usually do this and kind of forgot just because of our unusual format today. Well, but speaking of your team and unusual skills, before we go a little further, tell us a little bit about yourselves and your background in crypto or tech or anything related to what y'all are doing. But
okay, so my name is Jermaine, and I am like the marketing specialist on the team.
Just a little louder if you can.
Say again?
A little louder if you can. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. So, so my name is Jermaine. I'm the marketing specialist on the team. So basically, I have no real experience to be on this team, but...
Oh, I doubt that.
No, but I've been in the space for a few years now and have studied and know the space like inside and out.
Well, that sounds like relevant experience to me.
Yeah. So I'm just, there's hope for people that think that, okay, I'm not a developer.
You mean it's like they don't have a university or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Do these things yet?
Like,
well, they do now. Thanks to Jason.
They do now. Yeah. I mean, this is new stuff. It's not like, they didn't have Harvard for blockchain last week.
Yeah.
This is true. But there is ways to be involved in teams like this without having to necessarily know how to code. But I do understand the architecture. I understand like the purpose, the vision, so and the space. So I feel like I can definitely contribute to the team in that way. Well,
I just want to say, I mean, every development team, whether it's blockchain or any kind of tech, you're going to have people. Not everyone's going to be a developer, and even if everyone was, some of those developers are actually going to have to do other things because you got to specialize. You got to have a division of labor. You got to have someone who's going to be thinking outside the box and be forward-facing for the company to the public or to other businesses. And it sounds like that's what you do. And considering your experience and knowledge in the space, you sound perfectly suited for that. So.
Dude, can I hire you to follow me around? Can I hire you?
Sure. A personal hype man, yeah.
Sorry, that's why Danny has me
Actually,
here.
yes, we
I was
are.
never supposed to be a part of the show. I was just supposed to follow him around. So, Patrick, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
I mean, as it turns out, I did hire him as a bodyguard, but he's such a pussy, I'd have to protect him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty good.
I've been playing in the crypto space for about 5 or 6 years. My background is actually in big data, information processing, machine learning, and data analysis, that kind of stuff. So I bring some of the mathy parts to the equation, especially around like the white paper for Pokerium and some of the problem solving that we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And bringing some of that technical background in on the Solidity side and looking at working with our devs on the architecture around that.
Awesome. And Ola, tell us about yourself.
Where do I start? So I am also a veteran in this space. I came in at the onset of the Bitcoin early in the space around 2010.
Wow, that early?
Yeah, that early when my first company went under. And we, at that point in time, we were looking for a payment system that was efficient, better than PayPal with the outrageous fees. And I stumbled on Bitcoin, and then I took the plunge down the rabbit hole. And I started studying, and, you know, like everyone else in the space, you know, came up with a whole lot of experiences. And I decided I wanted to learn about more deeper topics in terms of cryptography and try to apply the knowledge to solve real world problems. And so one of the first projects I conceived was Pokerium, which is decentralized poker. And it's basically, it's decentralized poker with no need for servers. The very first conceived one in the space that was proposed to run using smart contracts. And
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And the model for the jury pool has been copied and replicated across other projects now. So that's
so we
one
feel
of
pretty good about the model.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was telling someone else the same thing. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right?
Yeah.
So you know you're doing something right when everyone else is copying you. So
Well, so when did you start working on a DAO, and what made you think DAO? Why are you interested in a DAO, and what can it do for people? I mean, what does the DAO do for the user?
So at the conception and the research into decentralized poker, it really doesn't make sense to have a centralized entity run a project like a decentralized poker. And so that was the natural logical conclusion of the direction to go. Initially, so it wasn't really Super DAO. It was called Pokerium DAO, right? We rebranded and we moved from platforms from a platform called NXT to the Ethereum platform.
Yeah.
And we have Super DAO now. So Super DAO is the decentralized governance structure that would manage all the decentralized apps like Pokerium that we are creating. And Pokerium is the flagship. We have others that products in the pipeline. So I wear many hats. I am the,
NXT kind of jumped out there early and made all those promises, but you never really seen anything go forward on NXT.
It didn't pan out, yeah.
Well, and that's why luckily people can, fork it and take it on their own path and develop it from there. So, I guess tell us, try to give us just a little bit more concrete detail on how the Super DAO works. Do you have any other examples too of what you've used Super DAO for? Do y'all have any customers yet who have had projects that have used Super DAO that you can mention, or tell us about that?
So Super DAO, we've sat back and done a lot of research over the years, and we've made sure that we're not jumping into the waters and taking missteps. As you can see, the Ethereum platform is pretty new, and we had to wait for some of the technology to mature, so that before we implement. Now, in relation to your question, Super DAO is not in its ideal state yet, right? As a concept, it maintains several states from from inception to its ideal state. So there are 3 states. The first one is the bootstrap state. We have an intermediary state where it's semi-democratized, and then we have a final state where it's completely crowd-governed. So we have a system where we progressively decentralize the whole structure while we work on the actual products that provide value to the organization as a whole. So we don't have customers, but we do have community supporters and token holders that represent the future, the future community of the organization. Right.
And you say token holders. Have you already done a token sale? Are you planning a token sale?
Well, we have a perpetual pre-sale for our organizational tokens, right? And those tokens, if you hold them now, you would be able to mine more of our tokens in the future. So we don't have a crowd sale in the future. We have a way for you to acquire more tokens by owning the tokens now. So we have an opportunity for you to buy some of those tokens now, but we do not have a crowd sale coming up.
Gotcha. Okay. That's kind of neat. So like you said, a sort of ongoing token sale.
Yeah, it's perpetual.
It's a different sort of model than what a lot of other people do. And it sounds like it gives more people opportunity to kind of involve themselves in that because, obviously with some token sales, you can eventually acquire tokens, but like you won't be able to get them as cheap or as with the incentives or perks that you can with, say, a month-long token sale, private or public sale, either way. So I think it's kind of a neat way to, I guess you democratize it, a little bit more for your community.
Spread it out, give a lot more people opportunity to participate in the future as they see the value that we are actually bringing to market.
Right, exactly. And so, do you have a brief roadmap of goals that you're trying to achieve, or for your rollout, or anything like that you want to mention?
Yeah. So we've been actively working on the Pokerium. We've recently just released a working demo of the front end. So that's a poker front end that you can actually go in and play with and see. We'll be showing an example of that in our flash talk later today.
And so are y'all still pursuing the poker aspect of this? Is that
so again, with the thinking that we're working on releasing dApps as member contributed parts of this community, right? Right now, those dApps are driven by our core members, and the part of that whole strategy, right, with the democratization of an open-ended pre-sale is that we get to release these things, these dApps, along the way, rather than what we see a lot of and what we've seen a lot of in 2017, which was, running the pre-sales or the ICOs coming up to a hard close, and then development kicks off. We've taken a different approach to that.
That makes sense. So you basically will have a working product that people can already see being used and see the functionality of not just the product itself, but the Super DAO architecture, and so they can get it on at any time, and when they do, there's something for them immediately to use and do in the platform.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the value prop, right? Is we're betting on the success of these dApps because we're not putting artificial close dates on the pre-sale and whatever. So in a way, personally, I think of it as we're putting our money where our mouth is, and we're releasing these things. And as you see the developments and the status updates and the communication coming from the team, you get to follow along and participate and play. And our expectation is that as we go further along, it'll escalate and grow, and we'll see more and more of those people kind of coming in saying, yeah, we like the way this looks.
Awesome. And do y'all play poker, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. I should hope so. I love poker. I haven't played in forever. Well, a couple last questions. Well, actually, first one, did y'all get to go to that Adam Kokesh poker game?
No. When was that?
Do you know what I'm talking about? I only heard it for one person, so I don't know. Supposedly, it wasn't invite only. Like, anyone could go.
Okay.
I mean, it was not invite only.
Oh, it was not.
Anyone could go, but it was like a $500 buy-in.
Okay.
And so when I found out, like the guy was just on his way to go, and I thought about it, but I was like, man, $500.
That's nothing to you, right?
No,
That's nothing to you.
I don't know about that. I mean, however much money I have or ever will have, I've always been a cheapskate. So anyway, but yeah, I was just curious if y'all had gone to that, but I kind of wish I had. It would have been a cool one-time experience.
Yeah.
Oh well. But what was I going to ask? So is and maybe I asked this already, I can't remember, but is the poker platform itself up and running or not yet?
So it's not up and running yet. We do have one of the scheduled release is out, the demo of the front end out. The next scheduled release is in the second quarter of this year. And that is in the, we put that on that schedule because we have a more important update for, our community members. And it's adapt that, they can, participate and get immediate value from. And I think that, the community members will be more excited to see something that is immediately rewarding rather than continuous experimental releases as we go on. So that's why we scheduled the next release for the second quarter of this year.
Gotcha.
So it is coming up, but we have something else coming up in front of it.
Well, good. Either way, stuff's coming out soon. And do you have a decent community built already, or?
We have a community information. We are in the stages of actively getting more eyes on that.
Yeah, so we're starting to work with a PR firm to really put our name out there and spread the word about what we're doing and what we have to offer. And yeah, so we're just now kind of starting to push.
Cool, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, everyone starts somewhere, and everything takes time to happen and to grow. So, it sounds like an exciting project, guys. I mean, both in its general application and definitely in the poker platform. Just because I just love poker. So,
crypto's still money. You can still lose a lot of money with poker.
Well, I mean, if people don't know that going in, well, then come on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's fair enough to say. I mean, everything's risky in life, especially poker. Yeah. Even if you lose money, it's still fun.
Yeah.
I've lost plenty of money in poker. Regretted a little, but I had so much fun, I kind of forgot pretty quickly,
Yeah.
So, but then some people can win lots of money if they got skills. So,
yeah.
Either way, it's poker. So, I like the shirts too. Can I get one?
Thank you. Yes, of course.
Do you have
Got it.
a double XL? I'm kind of fat. Do you have a double X?
I do have double X. You're lucky. It's like the last one I have. I got you.
Oh, thank God. Please give me one. Well, last of all, okay, Jermaine, Patrick, Ola, it's been a pleasure. Super DAO. Tell us where people can get more information, website, Twitter, etc.
So,
and then tell us any final thoughts you have that you want to share with us about Super DAO or anything else.
So people can reach us at superdao.io. We're on Twitter at twitter.com/superdao_HQ and on our blog at blog.superdao.io.
And Telegram also will be SuperDAO. Just
SuperDAO Telegram?
SuperDAO Telegram, yes.
I don't use Telegram, so I don't know.
SuperDAO HQ on Telegram, I believe. Right? SuperDAO HQ.
Official, actually. It's official. SuperDAO official on Telegram.
Just try everything with
SuperDAO official at Telegram?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Well
AI.
either SuperDAO official or SuperDAO HQ, and
I had to have somebody type their address in for me earlier because I didn't know how to use it.
How to use the what?
Telegram.
Oh yeah, this show is kind of limited on. Everyone's like, oh, we'll just give people are like, can we come on the show tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, we'll just give me your number or Facebook Messenger, and they're like, well, you don't use Telegram?
I know.
And they're like, what about Twitter? Well, we have a Twitter. Danny he's the one who does it. But anyway, if you can remember the specific one, we'll put that in our show notes later. But obviously, I think people can figure it out.
Yeah.
If they just do a couple searches. So, cool. Any other final thoughts, guys?
Okay, so we are presenting here. We're happy to be here in Acapulco. I cannot say that.
Damn.
I know.
I'm Acapulco.
I didn't think the weed was that good here.
And excited to meet the crew here. Thank you for inviting us on the show.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, thanks for your patience. I'm so sorry for all the delays, by the way.
No problem. No problem. We're happy to be here.
I know it was unorthodox, but I thought it would be, advantageous to them to let Jeff cut in.
Yeah, again, being associated with Jeff Berwick was not a bad thing. And that was probably the only 10 or 15 minutes we had with him. So.
Yeah.
For most people, that's probably true. So. All right, anything else, guys? All right, guys. Well, again, thanks, Jermaine, Patrick, Ola, a pleasure. Thanks for your patience. Get me a shirt, and good luck with everything. And I hope you guys can. I wish you guys a lot of success.
Great. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.